Salve, salve, maestro here, and today we are back with another small but still another Victoria free campaign. With the 1.9 update coming in next week, I guess, it's very difficult to find a country that won't be affected by the trade update and the company's update. But I think I kind of found it, and it is Shewa. And what's special about Shewa is that it is located in the middle of the Ethiopian. Basically, at this time, Ethiopia is a broken country, so we need to unite them. And actually, in Victoria Free, we got some flavor to unite it, although at this point, it's pretty much a very well known thing about this game. So, with that being said, let's start the campaign. Ethiopia starts in a very different and unique situation. Actually, most of the very, very small countries start because we don't have any construction sector. Our technology is pretty much obsolete. Like we only have up to 10 technologies unlocked. So it's very different to play in this region. So basically, what I'll do is start researching. I will start with democracy in order for us to deal with some agitators and try to change this laws. But also, I'm gonna queue some military service because since this is gonna be heavily focused on the military in the beginning of the game, I want this decree here about training rates since we are gonna need some manpower. Talking about the construction, we first need to set up our market in order to get a construction sector. And construction sector consume fabric and wood. And both we don't have right now. So I'll start to build some logging camps in order to increase the wood production and later be able to construct a construction sector. About the budget, it's very easy to get a surplus. So I will put very low taxation and increase the military wages. And about the decrease is very fast forward because we only got two provinces. So it's very easy to put some decrees like promote social mobility and agricultural industry since we don't get any manufacture and resource is already very small. Now for the government itself, I'm gonna put the intelligentsia into the government with the landowners because I want to try to remove this slave trade and go for legacy slavery in order to reduce the landowners' power. And actually, surprisingly enough, the Ethiopian had right of assembly like since the beginning of the game, which is kind of crazy, but okay. And now that everything is set it up, we just need to wait a little bit because although we could invade our neighbors, it's preferable to wait a little for a special event that's gonna pop up very soon that's gonna grant us a very great leader. And what makes him a great leader is that one of his traits will grant us a flat plus 30 of offense. So the strategy basically is to get this leader, make him a general, put him in the leadership of our army, and basically every war is already won for us. And I just forgot about the diplomatic, so we're gonna start to improve relations with Egypt and the Ottoman Empire in order for them to not get very mad at us expanding in our home region. And we're gonna do that as well with our little neighbors here that I'm gonna later invade them. But while I'm still uniting my country, I will just try to keep a neutral relation with them. So since the event of the leader is delaying a little bit, I will already start to expand in this region because we have some very weak neighbors and like we got a full army of 26 people and they only got 7 plus 2 conscript, 8 plus 4. So we don't need a overpowered general to take them up. And if you are deciding to get a general before this one, it's better to seek for someone that got some defense bonus because the other guy you're of course gonna put on offense. So the other general will always be on defense. And as such, it's better to get a defense bonus as this guy here that is tactical. And just as I started the war, we got the event, the Outlaw Prince, and of course, we always want to give him the power. And now, if you check here, there is this new prince that one of his trait is the political operator. No, where is it? Oh, is this thing here? He is an outlaw prince, so he got plus 50 of popularity and 30 arm strength. So of course, we're gonna grant him command of our troops. And now that we are almost finishing this cotton plantation, our market already can handle some construction sector. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do next. And basically, this is how overpowered this king is. So we got 40 offense with some regular people, like it the base not even regular, they are irregular infantry, and we already can beat some very big countries. In this case, of course, they are not big, but this is gonna be some pretty easy wars and quick. And now that we are finishing some wars, I will start to remove some improved relations in order to get a bigger excess of influence and as such decrease our infamy because I don't want these two big players come here and block our interests. And when expanding here in Ethiopia, check which states are splitted or not. What I'm talking about basically is if I went for these guys here of Goljant, they are from this state of Gondar, which is basically these north provinces over here. So what would happen is I would annex them, but then I would need to waste some bureaucracy to incorporate the state. But now I just invaded our east neighbor, and since I already had a province on the state that they are part of, I don't need to incorporate it anymore. So basically, if you are playing as Shewa, an example, go for this guy in the east and the other guys in the south first because of this splitted states, and then go for the north. Okay, so we got a legacy of slavery enacted, which is very good. But something I didn't expect it is this, like when I go to incorporate these guys, unify Ethiopia, the Egyptians are very much leaning to entering this war. So I think I'll need to wait a little bit. And like I don't get the bureaucracy to go on the north. So maybe I'll need to chill, which I was not hoping to do that, but I'll see what I can do here. For the next law, I think I'll go for racial segregation. I wanted to go to freedom of conscience, but this will make the Orthodox Church mad. And I don't want this debuff that they got here that decreased 10% the education access. And like we don't have any education. So I think I would leave it right there and then come back to get freedom of conscience. And I'm going to racial segregation because, as I said about the democracy technology, I wanted to deal a little bit with agitators in order to get, I don't know, a radical or maybe who knows, even a market liberal of the landowners. Okay, so since Egypt is not letting us to expand in our region, I will start to make these guys here as protectorates. Like my intentions were to just make them a protectorate and later annex them after I form Ethiopia. But okay, it is what it is, right? Okay, so one thing that I wasn't expecting is my private section. Basically, I built a lot of construction sector and I can't deal with it running all the time because my budget can deal with it. But surprisingly enough, my investment pool is managing it very well. Like, okay, the landowners are granting plus 20% of aristocrats' contribution to investment pool, but still they're even building some furniture manufacturers. Like I didn't expect that for sure. Okay, so finally what I was expecting happened, which is the Egyptians are at work with the Ottoman Empire because now it's our time to expand in our region. If you check here, both the Ottomans and the Egyptians won't care about us getting our neighbors, so it's very nice. But despite what I said, my strategy will change a little bit. I think I will go north. But why, you might ask? And it is because basically, if I try to go south, probably this Bejemder will side with our enemies, both with Borana and Kappa here. If we check, they got a plus 10 preference. And what's the problem is they are landlocked, like from our perspective. So basically, what I'm trying to avoid is we declare war over Kappa or Borana, then these guys side with them. We can't annex both, and then we're gonna end up with a truce with these guys, which of course we don't want because we want to annex them right after. So what I'm going to do is try to attack Wello so I can border all of our Ethiopian countries here and then I will go back to the south. Okay, so we just got racial segregation and the best part of it is that we actually can pass other laws because I forgot that when we unlock a democracy, we now have access to landed voting. So if we come here, we can actually stop being an autocracy and start to being like kind of a democracy, which is of course what we want. So let's go for landed voting. Okay, so we got a great opportunity here because the guys that would side with Boran and Kafta actually sided with Tigray, but both them and Tigray share some borders, so we can take them out on the same war. So even though they got more men than us, maybe we can still hope that our offense advantage is so huge, but we need to see if we can hold them at our defense and our manpower is actually very low. So let's try to annex both of them and see if the general is that gold that I was promised of. And indeed, not only my super general show his power, but actually my defense general hold them up. So we had a very great war now. But the problem is the Egyptians, they actually won the war if I'm not mistaken. So they are not anymore a puppet under the Ottoman Empire. And not only that, but I kind of have a little bit of high infamy. So probably whenever I start a war here, they're gonna side with my enemy. Bro, I wasn't checking that, but look at my investment pool. Man, they got $500,000 in the pocket. And I'm talking about Ethiopia right here. We got a standard of living of 7.2. Like, what the fuck is happening right here? I think I'll need to increase my construction sector. Okay, so something very interesting happened, which is the Egyptians are not supporting my enemies anymore. And why this is? Well, basically, Egypt now have a defend the borders strategy. So they won't get into any war, they'll just stay neutral. So let's use it for our advantage. Okay, so even though the Egyptians didn't side it, now the Borana sided with our enemy here, the Welega. So what I'll do is split the army in two, put some battalions here to hold off the Welega army, while my main army will attack and annex the Borana and then the Welega. And now we got blended voting, which is very nice. So step by step, we can decrease the power of the landowners. Now, even though I said that I wanted to go for freedom of conscience, we can remove these hereditary bureaucrats. Why? Because if we pass appointed bureaucrats, the landowners won't be mad at us because they are pretty happy. So there is no stall chance for this. So what I think I'll do is go for appointed bureaucrats first and then see what I'll do, and probably it is freedom of conscience. And again, two countries sided against us, so same strat. Let's split our army and take one of them out first. And finally, now we have all of our Ethiopian country united under Shewa. Not exactly all of it, because we still got to take Eritrea out of Egypt, but still, we now can form the Ethiopian Empire. And just to point out, what I've done here is not exactly the best thing to do, because with only two states you can form the Ethiopian country. And when you form it, you gain a claim over all of the other province, so you can annex the rest of the country for very less infamy without worrying about other countries like Egypt siding with the enemy. But I needed to deal with what the RNG gave it to me, so finally we can form the Ethiopian Empire. And now the only thing that's left for us to take is Eritrea, but this will probably take a little bit long since Egyptians are much stronger than us, and even with our super powerful general, it's not that easy. And yeah, we managed to get appointed bureaucrats without making the landowners mad, which is pretty massive. So I just waited a little bit for the approval of the landowners increase, because I want to get away from serfdom going to tenant farmers. And by increasing a little bit the approval of the landowners, it decreased the stall chance of this law. So now that we increase it a little bit, let's try it. And yeah, it was much straightforward than I expected, but we got very lucky. So in I think was 4 cycles, we just got tenant farmers. And something happened with my budget. Like, I didn't expect it that. Well, we increased a little bit of our military wages. Oh, damn. Okay, let's fix that. And somehow the corn loss triggered. Like, what the fuck happened? Because I don't have a plus 75% price over grain. And then this just spawned. Like, I removed some decrease here over agricultural industry because I wanted to check out if I could spend this already better. But then this just spawned, which is very nice, it's massive for us. And since it triggered, I want to say that it's very nice that in 1.9 they're changing it. Nowadays you'll get a landowner market liberal, and in 1.9 they're gonna give you a petit bourgeoisie market liberal, which makes much more sense, and it is not just super overpowered and actually cheesing. And finally, the event of the market liberal. Let's get them. Come on, man. The landowners are the last interest group to be pressured, and I'm already almost getting into the max support of this movement. Oh, yeah. So, just as the election happened, the landowners fall into the liberal movement, probably because they lost some clout, but still, okay. Now we can put our market liberal in the power. And now we have laissez faire as promised. The only bad part is that my balance is a little bit bad, but we can fix it later. Bro, remember that the investment pool had a ton of money? So basically, they bought all of my buildings, and now I'm full on gold reserves. Oh man, so sad. Our emperor died. Like, that's kind of suck because I didn't manage to take Eritrea out of Egypt. Like, I tried, believe me. I just couldn't beat the Egyptian army, even with him as a general. Like, the problem was not even him. The problem was my army that couldn't defend the attack from the Egyptian. I waited a little bit to attack Egypt in order to construct some arms industries, in order to get some line infantry. But even with full line infantry, even with conscripts, I didn't manage to defend the Egyptian army, and then I would just lose the war over and over. So I think we need to wait a little bit until like the Ottoman Empire declare war over Egypt again, and then it will be our way to get Eritrea. Okay, so we'll start to do some colonization because we're stuck in a stagnation here at our economy. Like we don't have a lot of pops remaining, and even when we have, we don't have the infrastructure for it. So I'll need to expand my borders through colonization. Man, I should have gone for colonization earlier because I just noticed that basically I'm struggling with infrastructure. And what I can do about it? Well, if I had coal, I could enact gas street lights and this would increase my infrastructure. But I didn't have coal over this region. But this province, this little province, already got a coal mine. Like, if I went for it before, I would have a lot more infrastructure than I have now. And yeah, a lot of time has passed. This is because I'm just building up my country, like I've annexed my subjects, but nothing too interesting happened in this meantime. But now I finally reached these populations here over the Lake Victoria, so I'm gonna basically invade them all and try to get their populations and production and resources and whatever. Bro, like, I was just casually looking at the world and it seems pretty normal. Like, the French are taking this chunk of Africa, the British are getting all these free sides of Africa. The British hush kind of exploded, but they are kind of stable. But then the things start to get some crazy. Like, if we come to South America, it seems pretty normal, right? But for some reason, Chile is a protectorate over Britain, actually a puppet. But okay, I can see that. Let's check what's happening in Europe. Then boom, North German Federation with German borders. Like pretty soon they are probably gonna form German, which is a pretty huge thing to do because you never see Germany forming in Victoria 3. But okay, what about North America? Oh, United Sovereign Archduchy. That's not very rare, let's be real, but not very common also. But then we go to Asia. Then I checked this and I saw, okay, maybe it's the shogunate and the Empire of Japan. For some reason, they are split. But no, Great Britain, they took this land directly from Japan. Like, what the fuck, man? All right, so another little jump in time. And what I did, it was basically to colonize this area. Oh, we can actually colonize here. Invade some province here over the Lake Victoria country. But the most important part of this is that I'm trying to build a actual army to fight off the Egyptians. So basically, one of the main reasons that we couldn't defeat the Egyptians is that they got cannons, they got artillery, and that's exactly what I'm building on. So I managed to build a artillery foundry here in Gondar, but not only that, when I conquered one of these countries here, they got an industry of their own here in Tanganyika. But actually, I came back not for that reason, but because the British are kind of friendly with me. So friendly that they are accepting to form a defensive pact. And this is very important in my opinion, because like we are in a small country in Africa, right? So it's very common for the British to try to invade us, or if not the British, the French do so. Even though we got a great army, we're right now the top 8 army in the world. We are a little bit over Egypt, but we need to have a little bit more advantage because we are the side that is attacking, so we got a little penalty. And the Egyptians are actually in a defensive pact with France, but basically entering a defensive pact with the British is a great way to defend ourselves, not only from other great powers, but the British themselves. So for sure, I'm gonna get this defensive pact. Okay, so now that everything is set, I think we are in a safe position to take out Egypt. Like they got almost 170 battalions if we count the conscripts. We got a little bit less, although we are in a professional army, so we got some morale damage, I guess. And we have more artilleries, so I think we can try to take them out. Like, we just need this piece of land, so I'm just gonna go for it. And well, the last time that I checked, it said that they wouldn't side with them, but the French sided with the Egyptians. The good part is that we can call in the Great Britain, but the bad part of it is that we need to transfer some state. Like, I could become a subject. This would be great because I would get into the British market. But for the role playing, let's keep as the only remaining independent country in Africa as it happened in real life. So checking out the states that they wanted, they actually accept this Ethiopian Rift Valley, which is a pretty useless province that I have. The only good part of it is that it got a coal mine already built, but I checked it and most of my coal actually comes from this province here, so I don't need to worry about it. And I think that it would make my borders a little bit more prettier, so I guess I'm gonna try and side with them. Okay, so for a brief moment, they were actually pushing into my lands, but as soon as Mommy Great Britain came in, they're just completing wiping out their army. Like, I don't even see any more French army here. Probably they are retreating or something. So basically, this war is already over. It's just a matter of time. Okay, that our number is very, very low, but eventually we're gonna get this province of Eritrea and then everything will be fine. And yeah, as I said, we took control over the province that we wanted. We just need to defend. Eventually, their number will drop down. And everything that we needed to do is just grant Great Britain this state here. I was actually a little bit worried because Egypt was improving their relations with France, Persia, or Spain. And yeah, the French are no more. So the Egyptians are only left with their own army, which of course can't handle both of us. I think that actually they couldn't even handle my army. Imagine this together with the British. And finally, we can say that we have the Ethiopian natural borders. Very, very cool. I wish I did manage to do it earlier, but well, Egypt get a little bit powerful in this run. I didn't expect it that. And they also delayed us a little bit into unifying our country. But okay, we eventually managed to do that. This was supposed to be a one episode series, so I really hope that this will fit into one episode. But basically, we can say that our mission here is done. We managed to centralize the Ethiopian country and expand into our natural borders. And of course, we could have done better, like in economics, standard of living, population, colonization, you name it. But I just wanted to do a quick and chill run in order to fill the gap until the 1.9 update. So I hope you liked the episode. Comment, like, subscribe. And if you don't want to see the stats, I'll see you next time. But if you want, as always, let's go for the stats.